South Africa has no shortage of dangerous criminals, from feared gang bosses in the Cape Flats to political kingpins hiding behind luxury cars and fake smiles. Some rule the streets, others operate from glass offices, pulling strings from behind the scenes. This series will take you inside the minds and methods of South Africa's most dangerous figures, how they rose, how they fell, and how their actions shaped the country's underworld. And today, we start with one man whose name might not be shouted in the streets, but whose influence touched police departments, politicians, and hitmen. His name, Vusimusi Kat Matlala. To the public, he was a successful businessman. To those who knew better, he was the tender king with blood on his hands. This is his story. Not much is publicly documented about Kat's early life, but by the time he emerged into the spotlight, he had already mastered the art of networking, especially with powerful people. He was well-dressed, charismatic, and had a knack for convincing others that he could make things happen. It wasn't long before he entered the murky world of government tenders, where billions of rand are spent every year, and fortunes can be made if you know the right people. Kat's big break came with a contract worth 360 million rand from the South African Police Service. His company, Medicare 24, was supposed to supply health services to police officers. But there was one problem. Matlala wasn't a medical professional. He had no proven track record in healthcare. The deal raised eyebrows, but because of his connections, no one stopped it. Money started flowing, and so did the luxury: Rolls-Royces, high-end designer clothing, penthouses, and parties. One of Kat's greatest weapons wasn't just money, it was protection. Investigations linked him to political heavyweights, including then Police Minister Beki and current Minister Senzo Mchunu. These weren't casual friendships. Reports suggest that Matlala paid for luxury accommodation for politicians. He sponsored high-ranking police officials to attend ANC celebrations, and in some cases, he was accused of using his influence to shut down investigations. This wasn't just business, it was power. Kat's wealth and lifestyle attracted attention from celebrities and socialites. One of his most public relationships was with actress and influencer Teboho Thobajani. But behind the scenes, there were darker allegations. Tebogo survived an attempted assassination, and reports later connected the attack to Matlala's inner circle. It wasn't the only time his name came up when violence was mentioned. Whistleblowers and investigators linked him to underworld figures, including hitmen associated with the infamous Radovan Krejcir. The tender king wasn't just making money. According to investigative journalists, he was moving in circles where business disputes ended with bullets, not lawyers. Ballistic evidence linked associates of his to at least 10 murders, including high-profile killings and failed assassination attempts on taxi bosses and musicians. These were not petty crimes. These were executions. For a while, Matlala seemed untouchable, but the walls started closing in. The Special Investigating Unit flagged his contracts as irregular. Payments to his company were frozen. Whistleblowers came forward, and eventually the very protection he relied on began to crumble. Even political allies couldn't shield him forever. Kat was arrested on charges linked to attempted murders.
Your Worship, as discussed in chambers, it's agreed between the parties that this matter be postponed for the formal bail application to the 30th of May, when the other two accused will also be appearing.
The tender empire that once made him millions was now under investigation for fraud and corruption. While in prison, he was caught with a cell phone, a violation that hinted at how much influence he still carried behind bars. It was a far cry from the days of champagne and supercars. Today, Kat Matlala stands as a warning about the dangerous intersection of politics, business, and crime in South Africa. He rose without qualifications, became a multimillionaire through questionable deals, and surrounded himself with people capable of murder. His story isn't just about greed. It's about how systems designed to protect the public can be exploited by those who know how to play them. This was part 1 of Dangerous Criminals in South Africa. Kat Matlala may be behind bars, but his story is far from over. In the next episode, we'll look at another figure whose rise and fall reveals just how deep the underworld runs. Until then, stay aware, stay safe, and remember, in South Africa's criminal world, the most dangerous people often look like the most respectable.